Hi friends, good evening and welcome to the lecture on compound interest. So for people who have looked at the lecture earlier, we've been just talking about interest in whole as the concept, and right now we're going to talk about the concept of compound interest. So we're going to understand what compound interest means, what we've already looked at why interest, what interest. For details of that, you can look at the previous lecture on simple interests. So there I've explained the concept of why interest in the first place, what is interest, why does it exist, how do you calculate interest. So we have talked about the different type of interest. We've looked at that there are two type of interest. One is simple interest and the second is called compound interest. In the lecture before this, we looked at what simple interest is all about. We looked at the formula to calculate simple interest, and we looked at a few problems based on simple interest. In this particular session, we're going to discuss what compound interest is all about. We're going to look at a few problems, if time permits, based on compound interest. We're going to discuss the formula for compound interest, and we're going to understand how compound interest is calculated. I'll basically derive the formula for you in a way that you understand that formula, and it makes it easier for you to remember the concept of compound interest. So basically, simple interest is something that is not used in the real world for real calculations when borrowing interest from any financial institute, from a bank. The type of interest that is used, or the basis on which transactions happen, is actually called compound interest. So now what compound interest is all about, let's understand that. So basically, let's take an example that you borrow a sum of 10,000 rupees for a period of 5 years at the interest rate of 10% per annum. So now, if this is what you have been doing, let's see, this is the principal, this is the term which is also called as N, and this is your interest rate. How do you calculate your amount and your interest? So we already have a formula. If we calculate using simple interest, the formula is PIN. So this will be 10,000 into 5 into 10, which is 5, which is basically, this will be your simple interest, is PIN is equal to 10,000 into 5 into 10 upon 100. So all cancels out. It's nothing but 5,000 rupees at an interest rate of 10% per annum for 5 years. This is a simple interest, and the total amount is equal to 15,000 rupees. So this is how simple interest is calculated. We also looked at the tabular form of how simple interest is calculated. This is your principal, this is your rate of interest, this is your interest amount, and this is the final amount. So we looked at this table for calculation of simple interest. Let's revisit this table and let's see how it is different for compound interest. Alright, so let's revisit this table. So say the principal is 10,000, your interest rate is 10%, which remains standard for all the years. You're borrowing it for 5 years. So the interest on the first transaction for the first year will be 10% of 10,000, which is nothing but 1,000 rupees, and the amount becomes 11,000. Now in simple interest, again in the next year we will calculate the interest on 10,000, but this is where compound interest is different. How compound interest is different is that the interest that you earn in the first year also gets added to your original principal, and henceforth every year that your interest is calculated, that principal, the interest that you've already earned becomes a principal, and even that amount gives you extra interest. Okay, so this is basically the concept of compound interest, where the interest that you earn at the end of every period becomes your principal. Your new principal is the original principal plus the new interest that you earn, and henceforth for the next year in the calculation, the interest is calculated on the new principal, which is the original principal plus the, so basically here the new principal becomes the original principal plus the new interest that you've earned. So this amount here becomes the, which is 11,000, becomes the new principal. Okay, so every time you earn an interest every year, that interest will also fetch you a 10% interest. So that keeps on compounding every year, and that is why this type of interest is also called as compound interest. Okay, so now what will the interest here? It will be 10% of 11,000, which is 1100 rupees. So the new amount will be 12,100 rupees. Now this 12,100 includes 1,000 interest which is earned in the first year, and 11,000 1100 interest which is earned in the second year. Basically this 1100 is nothing but the 1,000 rupees interest on this principal, which is 10,000, and 100 rupee interest on this 1,000 rupees at 10%, which is 100 rupees, total being equal to 1100. That is the new interest that you earn, and the total becomes 12,100 rupees. So even this 1,000 rupees will earn you an interest of 100 rupees every time, and this additional 100 that you earn here will now also earn you for the next 3 years an additional interest of 10 rupees for every year, and so on and so forth. And that is how this value keeps on compounding. Every time you earn, this value keeps on increasing, and that is why this interest is called compound interest. Let's see the further calculation of compound interest, how that will work. Let's watch it right now. Okay, so this is nothing but 1 to 1 double 100. At 10%, this will give you a return of 1210. So this is nothing but 1,000 rupees from 10,000. This 1,000 rupees gives you an interest of 100. This 1100 this 100 gives you an interest of 10. The total becomes 1210. Okay, because this 1100 is also earning you an interest of 110 rupees, which gets added to the 1100, and that makes this 1210 rupees. So that 1210 added to 1210 is nothing but 0 here, 1 here. This becomes 3, this becomes 3, this becomes 1. So the final amount is 13,310 rupees. This 13,310 rupees comes here. At 10%, it earns you an interest of 1331. The total here becomes 1 here. 3 gets added to 1 gets you 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 3 again is 4, and this is 1. This is 14,641 rupees. In the last year, this 14,641 rupees at 10% will give you 1464.1 or 0.10 paisa. So this will be the final amount. When you add it back, this 10 goes here. 4 plus 1 is 5. 6 plus 4 is 0. The 1 gets carried. 4 plus 6 is again 0. This is 1 here. The 1 carries. 1 plus 4 gives 5, and the carried 1 is 6. This is 1. So this is 16,105 rupees and 10 paisa is the final amount, and the total interest that you earn is the addition of all of these. So basically this is how compound interest is calculated. The total interest that you earn is this is the amount 16,105.10, and the total interest is this minus this, which is 6,105.10 paise, which is more than the 5,000 that you're earning here, and the total amount is greater than the simple interest amount that you're earning here, which is 15,000 rupees. So basically what is happening here is, okay, so did you understand the concept of compound interest, how compounding works? I hope this is clear for everyone, how compounding works. That every time you earn money, at the end of that period, that money gets added to the original principal, and that becomes the new principal, and then you get interest on the original principal plus on the interest that you earned in the last term. Okay, so hope that is clear for everyone. If anyone has a doubt, please ask me in the comment section and I'll be able to answer. Okay, if you have any kind of doubts, you can ask me in the comment section. I'll be able to answer. Alright, so let's now derive based on this the formula to calculate compound interest. So compound interest is nothing but CI is nothing but principal, okay, into interest rate, which is I. This is principal plus the interest rate, which is I, and this is getting principal and the compound interest. The interest is getting multiplied each time. So the formula for compound interest is nothing but raised to n. Why? Because every time your interest is getting multiplied with itself. So this is the formula for compound interest, and the amount is nothing but principal plus compound interest is nothing but principal plus I raised to n. This is p common, 1 plus I the whole raised to n. So this is basically how you calculate compound interest, because every time an interest of 1 plus I is getting multiplied with itself, and that is how you get amount equal to principal into 1 plus I the whole raised to n. Why that is because your principal 1 plus the interest rate, which is 1 plus 10 upon 100, is getting multiplied with itself, and the value keeps on compounding. That is how you get this formula. Let's check if this formula works. For that, let's substitute the values. Amount is equal to principal 1 plus I raised to n is equal to principal is 10,000, 1 plus I is 10%, 10 upon 100, the whole raised to period is 5 years. It is nothing but 10,000, 110 upon 100, the whole raised to 5. When you take this out, let's see, this is 10,000 into 1.1, sorry, so 1.1 the whole raised to 5. Now I don't know if you know this, but this is how square multiples of 11 work. Let me write it down here so that you know how to calculate it faster. 11 square is 1, 1 plus 1 which is 2, and 1 here, this is equal to 11 square. 11 cube is nothing but 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 again is 3, this is 1, this whole is equal to 11 cube. 11 raised to 4 is nothing but 1 here, 1 plus 3 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4, and 1, this is equal to 11 raised to 4. And 11 raised to 5, is nothing but 1 plus 4 is 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, 4 plus 6 is 10, so this is 6 over here, this is 1, 6 plus 1, this is 2, this is 1 plus 1, 5, and 1, it's 11 raised to 5. So basically that is how multiples of that is how the basically this is 0. So this is how powers of 11 work, and if you put that over here, you get the final answer as 16105.10. This is where you get it from. So I hope everyone gets how you calculate or how you use the concept of compound interest. Okay, I hope this is clear for everyone. If you have any questions, if you have any kind of queries, you can basically this is how you calculate compound interest, and every time you use compounding, this is how it looks. Okay, so I hope the basic concept of compounding is clear for everyone. If you have any kind of questions, please ask me in the comment section. I can read your comments live over here, so you can actually ask me whatever questions you need to ask me. Okay, alright, so if this is clear, let's move on. Let's solve some more questions based on compound interest. Should we go ahead? Alright. Okay, so let me search for some more questions based on compound interest. Alright, here's a question. Let's see if we are able to solve this. I'll read out the question for you. If you think you can solve it, you should pause this video, and this is for people who are not watching this live. So you should pause it, and after that you should try to solve it. If you're able to solve it, you should come back and check your answer. If not, you should still come back and see where you went wrong, or what is it that you have not understood in solving the question. Alright, so let me read out the question for you. Rupees 2000 is invested at annual rate of 10%. What is the amount after 2 years if compounding is done? And there are 4 different types of compoundings which are done. The first is annually, second is semi-annually, third is quarterly, fourth is monthly. So what will be the interest in all of these cases is what is asked. What will be the final amount? We have to calculate that. Let's see how that can be done. If you have understood the question, it will be a good idea to stop and try to solve it yourself. Now let me write down what all is given. Principal is given as, since 2000 rupees is invested, the principal becomes 2000. Annual interest rate is, the rate is, or the I as we use it, is 10% per annum. What will be the amount after 2 years if compounding is done? So your N is equal to 2%. Sorry, it's 2 years, not 2%, it's 2 years. Now what they ask us is what will be the amount after 2 years if compounding is done. So the formula, like we've learned just now, the formula is P 1 plus I the whole raised to N. This is P 1 plus I is 10 upon 100 the whole raised to 2. This is nothing but 2000. 10 upon 100 is 0.1. 0.1 plus, so this is 1 plus 0.1 the whole square. It's nothing but 2000. 1.1 whole square is nothing but 2000. What is 1.1 square? Is nothing but 1.21, as we've already seen how square powers of 11 work. So we have 1.21 here. Since 1.1 into 1.1 will give us an answer with 2 digits after decimal point, so it is 1.21. If you multiply this is nothing but 242, 2 zeros, and this decimal cancels, so this is 2420. This will be the amount after compounding for 2 years. So this is basically the final answer for when compounding is done annually. Now let's look at what will happen if compounding is done semi-annually. In that case, your N will change. In this case, your N is 2. Your N will be equal to 2. Since this is happening 4 times, it will be 2 into 2 is equal to 4. That is the only difference. No, it is not. Your interest rate is given as per annum, so your interest rate will also be basically half, so it will be 5%, 5 upon 100 is equal to 0.05. That will be your interest rate for semi-annual. Now with that, let's calculate the amount for semi-annual, which will be equal to P1 plus I raised to N is nothing but 2000 into 1 plus interest rate is 0.05 whole raised to 4. This is nothing but 2000 1.05 raised to 4. This is equal to 2000. How do you calculate this? It's basically 5 raised to 4 is 625. I hope everyone knows this, that 5 raised to 4 is 625. How that is, does everyone know that 5 into 5 is 25? And if you calculate 25 into 25, this is 5 into 5. This is 2 carried. 5 into 2 is 10. This is 125. 2 into 5 is 10. 1 carried, which is 5. 500 plus 125 is 625. So 0.5 square will be nothing but 625, and every time you multiply it with this. Okay, let me write a simple calculation for you over here. Let me calculate this very simply so that you don't get confused. Let me not write it as 0.05. Let me write it as 5 upon 100. When you add this to 1, it becomes 100 plus 5 upon 100. This is equal to 105 upon 100. Basically, you have to calculate 105 the whole raised to 4. So to do that, let's simply multiply. This is 5, this is 0, this is 5. This is basically 2 carried. This will be 0. This will be 5. 2 zeros, 5, 0, 1. There's 5 here, there is 2 here, there is 10 here, carried 1. This will be 101.25, since it is again multiplying it by 105 and again multiplying it by 105. The result that you will get here will be equal to 1.2155. Alright, you can go and cross check this answer. You don't have to believe me. You can multiply this again by 105 and then again by 105, and then the decimal point will be after 4 digits, before 4 digits, because that is how many times you are multiplying it. And when you multiply this further, you get the final answer as 2431. Again, like I said, you have to calculate this. You have to check by calculating this. Now, why you don't have to worry about such calculations is because, given the pattern of your exam, such difficult questions will not be asked. Okay, so you don't have to worry about such difficult calculations. Even if it asked, the options will be such that you can approximate. The important point to note here is that when the interest is being calculated annually, the amount is 2420, which semi-annually the amount is 2431, which means the amount is more in case of semi-annual. That means that the more number of times you do the compounding, the more your amount, because the amount keeps on increasing every time you compound. And that is why in case of semi-annual, the amount is greater than in case of annually. Alright, similarly you will have calculate quarterly, and similarly you will also be able to calculate monthly amounts for both of these, for the given principal and the given interest rate and the given period. You will be able to calculate the amounts for quarterly compounding and for monthly compounding. You can try that on your own. If you have any kind of doubts, you can bring it to the next session. All right. For people who are watching this who are not live members or plus members at Unacademy, you can use our code, which is LPRO, which is LPRO. You can use this code to get a 10% off at Unacademy for your plus subscription. Why plus subscription is because these chapters will be taught to you in detail over there, and basically if you have any questions, we are going live. We also have a WhatsApp group, so once you join there, you can add that join that WhatsApp group, and you can basically avail all the benefits of that plus subscription. So if you or any of your friends are looking to join an academy, you can give them this code, which is LPRO, and they can earn 10% off on the subscription. I hope to see all of you there in the next session. Till that time, wish you all the very best for your preparations for CPT, and I wish you a great year ahead. Since we are nearing the new year, I wish you all a very happy new year in advance. Hope to see you all very soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.